What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? I am Trainer Josh, and I'll be bringing you something pretty new to the channel. It'll be my RU tournament that I actually entered with a few of my friends. A few of them include Brian, aka B Nasty, Flame Dog 3, and of course the brand new, but he feels like an old friend to me, Mikey, aka Halu. And yeah, as you can see, this is round one. I had the privilege of going up against Honker. Well, Honker 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And sorry if you can hear my chair in the background. I'm kind of moving around. But yeah, this is game one. It's definitely sloppy, if I had to say the least. But before I move on, I want to show you the team, and it was a best of three. So if you won the first two, you automatically make it. If you win the second, after you lose the first, you obviously go to a game three to determine who wins and such. So yeah, game one's gonna be with this team that Brian, aka B Nasty, passed me. And before I go on, he passed me all the teams that I'm using. So yeah, shout out to him. Anyways, yeah, this is a mixed Mega Glalie, of course, enough special attack to a KO, a standard Alomomola. We got interesting Moltres right here. This was the reason why I wanted to use the team more than anything. It's Z Sunny Day Moltres. If you don't know, Z Sunny Day with Fire and Z actually gives you +1 speed with the sun, so you pretty much become a stronger, well, not a stronger Zardawai, because obviously Zardawai has better special attack, but I mean, for RU, that's pretty insane. Anyways, yeah, we have an AV Kabutops because we want to counter to Moltres, and if there's no sun up, I can probably take a Fire Blast and besides HP Grass. Next Pokemon is just bulky pivoting Cobalion of Rocks. Twitch Scarf Durant, which is pretty interesting, and Specs Whimsicott. So yeah, let's move on to the replay as we wait for it to load. And yeah, anyways, I was looking at his team and I was like, okay, I just want to get up rocks so I can force pressure on his Vikavolt and just chip away at his team little by little. So let's just put this on normal really quick as we go over game one. Like I said, it is very sloppy on my end, and you'll see why. Anyways, I wanted to play it safe here as it leads to with the Locking Rock. I should have just gone for rocks, but I decided to go for close combat just in case he was like the Sashly Lycanroc. But yeah, he decides to just switch into his Necrozma as I click CC for like no reason. And yeah, as you can see, my team doesn't really deal with Necrozma all too well because my Pokemon that takes it on really well has a pretty bad Spadef stat. Anyways, yeah. So I hard switch into Durant, and I'm thinking, okay, he has a 4 times resist. Actually, I don't think bug resist, but actually no, I forget my chart typings. But he has a Scavalier, which is a pretty decent switch into this thing, and even the freaking Diancie. Actually, no, you wouldn't switch Diancie in, but he has it in Scavalier, so I'm like, okay, he's gonna just switch into a Scavalier. I'm gonna click Superpower to at least get some damage off. But yeah, he stays in for some reason, and not only does he stay in, he clicks Trick Room, and yeah, as you can see, looking at my team, I actually lose the Trick Room because my slowest Pokemon is AV Kabutops, which isn't even that slow. Especially when you look at his team, it actually probably outspeeds every single thing except Rock, and that is pretty shitty. That's awful, actually. So at this point, I'm contemplating what I should do here. So I go to my AV Kabutops, and I'm kind of praying I don't get to a kill because I wasn't calcing. And yeah, he clicks Psychic into it, kills me, so I'm like, oh, well, I gotta sack something here, don't I? So at this point, I'm like, okay, I don't think Mega Glalie does too much. It does force pressure on some of his Pokemon, but I mean, he has a lot of counters, so I'm just gonna sack Mega Glalie. I'm gonna be able to get one Ice Shard off here, which is not bad at all. As yeah, I go for Ice Shard and I do 10%, and that's pretty sad. That's honestly terrible. As yeah, he just killed me off with the Psychic, and at this point, he has one turn to Trick Room, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get up my rocks up here, and once Trick Room ends, I can just taunt next turn because he'll probably click Trick Room and not kill me. That's what I was thinking. So yeah, he'll go up to 97%. He'll be up to 4 after this turn, guaranteed. As I go for taunt, as he actually does go for the Trick Room this turn, which is I guess pretty good because I get to stall out one. I can stall out some Trick Room. It's not going to be able to get activated just yet. As I go for Volt Switch, and at this point I really don't have much of a switch in, so I'm going to go into my Psychic Resisted Durant and take about 48% from the Psychic. And at this point, there's no need to play around. I'm just going to click X Scissor and get as much damage as possible on this Necrozma because this thing is just a problem to my team. As yeah, as you can see with the X Scissor damage, I can see why he was safe and stayed in, but then again, he was getting 2 KO'd, and he had to bank on the miss to not die. So I don't know. I didn't really agree with it. Anyways, I go to my whims cut and I calc my thing, and yeah, this kills a defensive the Krasma at 42%. As he goes into Diancie, and at this point, I don't have a switch in to Diancie because I'm pretty sure he's clicking Trick Room. So I'm just going to click Moonblast as he does click Trick Room. As I will be able to take any hit he goes for, even like Moonblast. As you can see, I take it really well. He doesn't get a special attack drop, which is pretty good. But you can see it won't really matter because he's going to be able to kill me off. And yeah, he types that's a Specs Whims to cut, yeah, for sure. And yeah, he goes up to 41%, and at this point, I'm trying to contemplate what my best situation would be here. And I was thinking, I'd rather have Kobalion alive on the field when Trick Room ends than Kabutops, just because it doesn't. I mean, Kabutops actually probably could have been really decent, but I didn't really think about it at the time. At this point, I kind of figured I lost. So, but my better play was just going into the Cobalion because as you can see, I thought Cobalion actually just died to a Moonblast because I'm pretty sure he's offensive max HP. But as you can see, I actually take a Moonblast at 2%. So I could have just easily gotten a Cobalion, click Close Combat, and then got into Kabutops and click Aqua Jet. That would have been my better option because Kabutops actually really pressures his team, even though I might have died to an Assault Rock with from the Lycan Rock. Anyways, he goes into the Dome Ice, and I literally cannot touch this thing, so I just go for Taunt for no reason. If you click Spin, then so be it, but he clicks Shadow Claw. So at this point, I have to hope. I have one thing that I can hope on. I'm going to click Roost here because I want to see if I can actually Roost off on his Shadow Claws. And if I can, I would try to make sure I do. But the thing is, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is if that Lycan Rock has a Cell Rock. If he does have a Cell Rock, I lose. If he doesn't, I actually win, and you'll see why. So yeah, it's all down to the the Fire Z Moltres. As I go for Roost, I can see if I can have some more HP. And as you can see, I will. So at this point, I'm not going to play around crits. But then again, if he crits me here, the game's over anyways. So I click Z Sunny Day, set up the Power of the Sun. As he goes for Shadow Claw, and does 50% to me. So at this point, I have to hope I hit 3 Fire Blasts. And I have to hope he doesn't have a Cell Rock on the Lycan Rock. But he literally goes into Lycan Rock in like 2 seconds. So I'm like, yeah, the game's over. So I just dropped the GG in the chat as he clicks a Cell Rock. He was actually Life Orb Lycan Rock, which is pretty interesting. So he wasn't the Sash, obviously. He was the Stealth Rocking Necrozma. So yeah, it was a pretty sloppy match, and I have to admit I played really, really badly. But it's fine. We have potentially 2 games to potentially win and hopefully make it to the next round. But yeah, honestly, that was such a sloppy game. I couldn't have played any worse if I tried. But then again, my matchup was awful because I just happened to get Trick Room, but I literally picked the fastest team out of the entire batch of teams that Brian sent me. And he sent me like 11 teams, so that's saying something. So anyways, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to show off the second match real quick, so I'll be right back. And we are back with Game 2, and you can see my team consists of the Slowking, Cobalion, Emboar, Venusaur, Alolan Persian, and the Virizion. As his team actually does have the Moltres this time around, brought the Scavalier plus the Delmites again, and bringing 3 new Pokemon with the Gigalith, Milotic, and Jolteon. And let me just show off my team a little bit before I actually start the match. We have AV Slowking because it actually counters Moltres reasonably well. We have just the same exact Cobalion as the last team because Cobalion's really good with most teams. We got Scarf Emboar, we got Life Orb Venusaur with knockoff for utility because, Regimole is a thing. We got Alolan Persian with enough speed to outspeed base 80s. And it's pretty defensive at the defensive investment because you hit 444 defense with the near max HP. So you're really bulky and you can get parting shots off to potentially set up with the SD Rockium Z Verzion. That way you don't have to risk Stun Edge, which is pretty interesting. I really like it. Yeah, anyways, let's just go to the match really quick. And anyways, as you can see, I'll lead with my. So yeah, as you can. Yeah, let me just put this on normal really quick. And yeah, as you can see, I lead Michael Ballin. And this time around, I'm just going to click Rocks. As he leads with the Specs Jolteon. And at that point, I just take the damage with the Cobalion because it's just my best play overall. I can force him to click Spin with his Domies, which is pretty fine. And at this point, I'm just going to click Volt Switch because I don't see him hard switching back into Jolteon. I don't see what that would do for him. I click Volt Switch as I go into my Alolan Persian because it's a check for the most part. As he goes for spin and gets rid of my rocks, which is fine because it gives me pretty much a free switch into Persian. As we're going to drop a Toxic here, as I unfortunately miss. So, and he goes for a shot, and it does absolutely nothing. He does about 25% to me, which is pretty crazy considering that's probably max attack with base 131 attack and stab. So, at this point, I know there's no way he's going to let this Pokemon get toxic because he doesn't want to get worn down because it's a pretty decent Slowking switching. So I'm going to click Pardon Shot here. I could have clicked Foul Play, but honestly, I didn't feel like that was a good play. As he does go into Scavalier, which because I could have clicked Foul Play, but it's fine. I don't lose anything from doing this. As I go to my M board, as I'm just going to click Superpower and see how much I become in my Melodic. As he'll do a decent amount, it does about 45%, which is decent considering that's not Reckless Boost or anything. It's just a stab superpower from Magellan. As at this point, I know he's going to click recover, so I'm going to go into my just my Venusaur, and now I'm going to predict him to go into the AV Scavalier, and I'm going to click knockoff, and yeah, I knock off the thing's AV. So if I had hidden power, his ass would be dead, but obviously I don't have hidden power fire because you can only fit so many sets, so many moves on a Pokemon. As I go to my Cobalin, as he actually doubles into the Moltres, and luckily, I outspeed Moltres unless he's Scarf, and if he's Scarf, I'd find out right here and right now. He's obviously not Scarf, so I'm probably thinking to just go into my AV Slowking, the quote unquote hard counter to this thing. As he goes for Fire Blast, it only does 20%, and that is a life for Moltres, so that's definitely pretty decently by Slowking. As I go fire off a Scald, and I do a decent amount, it's about a 5-hit KO on Delmies. And that's fine. As he actually doubles into Jolteon as I go to my Alolan Persia, which is a good play in this part because this does force a lot of pressure on me since he's obviously Specs. So I'm gonna go into my Mega Venus, my Venusaur, excuse me, just so used to saying Mega Venusaur. He goes for T-Bolt, and reasonably well since Venusaur has pretty decent bulk on its own. As he goes into the Scavalier, knowing I pretty much can't touch this, as he makes a pretty decent play and he goes for the Joe Run, knowing I would probably switch into this thing, or a Cobalion, which is pretty well played on this part. As he goes into my Melodic, I could have gone for Wild Charge, but I didn't see the point. Ember goes down to 8%, and I don't see why I should sack this thing here. So I'm just going to go right back into my Venusaur, as he does go for the Synthesis, thinking I would just give myself the Flare Blitz. So I'm going to click Leaf Storm, no playing around. If Scavalier switches in, it switches in. But for some reason, he is in, guessing I would over predict, and he loses one of his best Pokemon for my entire team. Even Bar it, Virizion could set up on it potentially if I don't get burned, but it's still pretty huge considering my best way to handle it was Grass Knot, Slowking, and Leaf Blade Virizion if I don't get burned. And I guess this thing, but like I said, he has a Scavalier, pretty good switcher for the most part. As yeah, my loaded dies, which is very, very big for me already. As he goes into Moltres here, and I was really close to just clicking knockoff because I knew there was no way he was going to attack me knowing I had Slowking. But as he goes for Roost, so I could have actually knocked off his Life Orb to really hinder his damage, but it's okay. As he goes right back into Domies, I'm just gonna fire up Scald because I literally have no reason to not click Scald. I could have stayed in here and clicked Fire Blast, but I wasn't sure if I outsped. As I go into Persian, as he goes for Power Whip and he unfortunately misses. And as you can see, this won't really matter because you'll see the plays I go down, and I really didn't need the HP that I could have lost on Persian there. As he goes into Gigalith, as I'm gonna click the Pardon Shot because the switch is just pretty obvious in general. The switch, I don't know what he would switch into, but obviously I knew he was switching. As I go to my Cobalion because I'm just gonna click Taunt. I'm guessing he wanted to just in case he wanted to stay in and click Rocks because I can see why he would want Rocks versus me because Emboar dies at that point. Speaking of Emboar dying, he goes back into the Specs Jolteon. And at this point, I don't see why Emboar is useful because I have Pokemon to deal with the Escavalier and the Anchor. As he goes for T-Bolt, and I'm actually looking at the rest of his team, and I'm thinking, you know what? Is as if this Jolteon doesn't paralyze me with T-Bolt, I think SD Virizion actually wins the game at this point. If I can hit one edge, that's all I need. And depending if he plays the end game correctly, I might not even need to hit an edge. As he actually hard switches, and he goes into Domies, and okay. So he hard switches for some reason. I didn't understand why. I guess he didn't want to lose his Jolteon there because, like I said, Specs Jolteon actually does do a decent amount of work to my team once my resist die. And I go for SDD, hard switches into the dummies. He will take stand. He goes down to about 46%. Excuse me. As I'm actually gonna fire off the Rock MC. As you see me drop the entire Earth onto this anchor and just blow him away to another dimension. I'll explain this play. I wanted to go for Leaf Blade, but it was a roll, and depending on his investment, it had a chance. But it was only a roll if he was not HP invested, and these things carry max HP, so there's no way I was clicking Leaf Blade. And I didn't want to risk the miss on Stone Edge because any physical move from that thing would have definitely done a lot of damage to me, considering I'm a Virizion and I don't have a lot of physical defense. So I just had to click Edge. I had to click the Continental Crush and waste my Z move. So if he hard switches into the Moltres, I have to click Stone Edge and hope I hit. Anything else dies to any of my stabs that are 100% accurate. So he's actually going to go hard into the Escavalier, which I didn't really understand because the Escavalier is just going to drop to his close combat. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, now he's going to go into Moltres and hope I miss the Stone Edge. But no, he goes into the Gigalith, who dies to Leaf Blade. And it gets blown away. So I'm thinking, okay, now he's going to go into Moltres to try to avoid the Stone Edge. But no, he actually goes into the Jolteon, and I don't doubt at any move because Virizion has really good speed, really good HP. And he goes for the specs probably. As I go for close combat because I was thinking maybe he would try to double into the Moltres, thinking I'd go for Leaf Blade, and he would probably die to 2 close combats, so that's why I did so. And now he goes into Moltres, and if I miss a Stone Edge, I literally still win the game anyways, as I actually hit a Stone Edge, which is pretty cool. And that's the end of game 2 with Virizion just clean up at the very end. And that is very, very good. So now, just like that, I tie up the series 1-1. Next game wins it all for round 1. And really, I couldn't believe Virizion actually swept at the end because I was looking at the end game. I was like, wow, I don't know if this is actually going to work, but I'm going to try it. And what do you know, it worked. So yeah, we're going to move on to game 3. Game 3 is, of course, the game that will decide it all for me and my opponent, Honker. So yeah, I'll pause the video and I'll be right back. And bada bing, bada boom, we are back with round 3. And as you can see, he brought the same exact team to game 3 as he did to game 1. So that was the advantage for me, knowing that I pretty much know most of his team. I never saw Vikavolt hit the field when I played it last time, and everything else hit the field, I believe. Actually, I don't think Escavalier ever hit the field either. But anyways, as you can see, I brought a completely new team for game 3 as well, bringing a whole different teams for all 3 games because I want to keep my opponents guessing. And yeah, as you can see, I have a Drampa, Doublade, a Diancie, a Venusaur, Slowking, and a Vikavolt. Vikavolt making its debut among my YouTube channel, and that's pretty cool. And yeah, we'll just go over that team real quick as, yeah, it's obviously game 2 team. Let's go to the game 3 team. Of course, we have the Expert Belt Drampa, no speed to outspeed stuff, that slow stuff in this tier. We got Doublade, this pretty much outspeeds a fast Anchor. We got Diancie, Normality, Healwell Diancie, which is pretty interesting. This EV spread was good for the last generation. I don't know what it's good for now. But because I was asking Brian, what is this spread good for? And he said, I have no idea. I copied it off the forum, so I was like, hey, touche. We have enough speed to obviously outspeed other sassy Diancies, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, Z Healball Diancie, which obviously puts me back at full, so it's like recover. And it's really good because Diancie now has a really good form of recovery. Of course, you don't have leftovers, but with the opportunity to go back to full, even after your opponent thinks you're dead, is really, really cool. We have offensive Venusaur again, with just, this same exact spread. We got AV Slowking because Moltres is in the tier now, except the set's a little different. We have Dragon Tail instead of, I forgot what the other move was in the last one, but yeah. And this is Bulky Vikavolt, another special attack to KO a Tyrantrum with Bug Buzz, and then, just max near max HP, of course, with the odd HP number, and then just 208 defense. It's a really interesting set and spread. You'll actually see it do some work in game 3. And yeah, as you can see, I'm just gonna actually lead with Diancie. Let me put this on normal. As he leads with his Necrozma again. If he goes for Trick Room this time around, my team can actually handle it reasonably well. So as we actually trade rocks, and this team has removal, so Vikavolt's going to be pressured throughout this game, and by pressured, I mean right now. Anyways, he goes into Swag Scavaliers. I could have gone for Diamond Storm. That was probably my best play, but I was kind of hoping he would stay in the click Trick Room as I got a good amount of damage off on him. But no, he just goes into the Scavalier. At this point, I'm thinking I'm going to go into my Vikavolt because I'm switching at this point. As he goes for knockoff, and I take it pretty well, only the 29%, considering that's probably max attack adamant. And I'm going to go for Roost here because, like I said, I want to make sure I have as much HP as possible. My Vikavolt, considering I don't have any hazard removal. As he goes in the dynasty, he's left over, so I know he's not Zehubo like mine. As at this point, I'm just gonna go to Blade because they're not really carrying Earth Power now. As he goes for Power Gem, so he's not carrying Diamond Storm as his Rock Stab, which is interesting to know. I'm just gonna fire for Iron Head. Stays in. He's obviously gonna just blow away to another dimension. As he goes into his Dummies, and like I said, I have enough speed to outspeed a Dummies even if he's fast, but I'm pretty sure he's just max HP. As I go for Shadow Claw and I easily kill him. As he goes back into Swag Scavalier, and I don't want to take a knockoff, so I'm gonna go right back into Vikavolt, knowing I can easily take a knockoff now that my item is gone. As he goes for knockoff, as you can see, and I take 21%, which is really good. As now with the Roost, I'm gonna be. He goes for Mega Horn. It does a lot more than I expected. So I have to hope he misses a Mega Horn. But as you can see, he actually switches into the Lycanroc as I go for the Roost. And Lycanroc actually pressures my team reasonably well, considering it does have the Fire Fang to hit Doublade super effectively, and Max's Life Orb Stone Edge will do a lot to the rest of my Pokemon. So at this point, I'm going to go into Dancy and hope I can take 2 Stone Edges, but I probably can't. But he actually goes for Fire Fang because it's more accurate, I guess. I'm pretty sure Vikavolt actually lived the Fire Fang, but I wasn't about to stay and take that because I was easily going to die to rocks afterwards, and I kind of want Vikavolt healthy. As he goes for Fire Fang, and I'm just going to go for Diamond Storm here because I expected the Swag Scavalier to come back in, but he just goes right back into his Necrozma. And at this point, I noticed things. Oh, Jesus Christ! I noticed things spread. So I know his moveset, so I know he can't really touch Doublade unless he gets his Pedef drop. As he goes for Trick Room, and this is actually going to help my Doublade out against Necrozma, which is really good because I'm going to go for SD here. As he goes for Sidekick, and it's going to do absolutely nothing. It's going to do about 21%. Meaning I can easily take another one. So when I say that, I probably should have gone for SD here because SD probably would have actually won me the game right now. But I decided to be really dumb and not go for the SD. I just go straight for Shadow Claw because I was thinking it would actually kill. This thing's Prism Scale really helps it out a lot, especially in this case. As he goes for Psychic, and yeah, I'm not gonna be able to kill him with one shot, but two will easily get the job done. So I killed a thing that was really bulky last time in game one. It's gone now. And I say I should have gone for another SD because you'll see right here, I go for Shadow Snake and it does a lot. I'm surprised it did that much because I'm not max attack, which is why I say that. As he goes for knockoff, and yeah, I die, but Vikavolt cannot come in, and he doesn't really have a clean switch into Vikavolt, so he's going to sack his Swag Scavalier. And considering it died to rocks, that was probably a smart idea. As he goes into Diancie here, and I'm just going to go into my Slowking because not that I know his main Rock Stab is Power Gem, I know I can take it really well. As he goes for Trick Room, which is pretty interesting because I will outspeed Lycanroc, and I won't outspeed the Vikavolt. As he actually goes right into it, and as you'll see, I'm going to get a crit Skull along with the burn. So if this was still Gen 6, it would have actually died. But of course, this is Gen 7, and burn was nerfed. So at this point, I got to find a sack. So I'm like, okay, Vikavolt, you actually don't do anything for the rest of the game. And he said, well, that's game. Well, I mean, potentially. But yeah, he goes for Specs T-Volt, obviously, and just destroys me. As he will die to burn, which is good. His last 2 Pokemon are Diancie and the Venusaur. And the Lycanroc, excuse me. As I go into the Venusaur, and even if he's max HP, max Pedef, Leaf Storm will easily kill at this point, but I miss a Leaf Storm, and at this point, that sucks because I'm going to be really low after his Power Gem, especially since he gets a crit, and with Life Orb, I'm at 2%. And I hit this one, I get a crit. If he was max HP, max Pedef, but I'm pretty sure he was just max HP with special attack investment, so it probably didn't matter. As he goes for SD because he knows this is his only way to win. And I hit a Leaf Storm. Thank goodness I didn't miss this one. If I missed that one, I probably lost the game, which is that would have been pretty sad. I would have been really sad if that would have happened. But yeah, good game to Honker. As yeah, that's the best of 3. I move on to round 2 after I could say definitely a well played game 2 and 3 by me compared to game 1. But yeah, as you can see, my Doublade isn't even max attack, so I'm surprised Shadow Snake did that much to an Aegislash. But yeah, that was round 1. It was pretty exciting. And my friends Mikey, Flame, and Brian all did the round 1 matches. Mikey actually won the first. He won 2-0 just straight up. He just like clean swept the guy. With the Vikavolt team I actually had right here, and I believe his other team, I don't even remember what it was. It might have been the SD Virizion team. I don't know. I don't really remember too well. Brian actually lost, which was pretty saddening, and Flame lost in two games as well. So me and Mike are the only ones out of the four to make it to round two. Kind of unfortunate, but it happens. And we'll see what happens in round two. I'll hope for the same amount of success. I might use some different teams, but I don't know. The This team right here in particular has really stuck to my heart, and the SD Virizion team is really good too. But there's other good teams that I really want to test out, such as there's Rux's team. We have a Dark EMZ Home Claws Durant set, which is really really cool. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll be back with round two coverage whenever my round two games actually happen. So yeah, I'll see you guys soon. And yeah, GBT actually starts up again. I don't know when, but pretty soon, which is pretty hype. So yeah, I'll be back hopefully with my week two match for the IACO versus Courtesy. Hopefully that comes around soon. So yeah, au revoir and peace.